Hey guys and girls, welcome to the Tennis Hackery podcast. This is episode zero, our very first episode. Uh, Tennis Hackery is where we discuss all things at the intersection of tennis, technology, and of course, the mind game. My name is Tarun, and we are a group of three extremely passionate tennis coaches slash players. We are from the San Francisco Bay Area in the United States. Um, about myself, uh, I have been playing tennis for the past 12 years at the lowest levels of the USTA leagues. And I have a background in cricket and I'm a software engineer by my profession. So I hope to bring the technical aspects, the technological aspects to tennis hackery. I started coaching about 5, 6 years back. I'm a PTR certified coach, and I started coaching my kids first. They are competitive juniors. They were my first lab rats, and I branched out to coaching other kids. By the way, I don't recommend parents being the sole coach of their own kids. Hire tennis coaches, hire tennis professionals, help the industry. Uh, a few on the order of things that I wanted to mention. You can find us on all the social platforms, Facebook, uh, Twitter, which is X now, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, all the podcasting platforms. Um, I am collectively promising from all of us that we will get on TikTok once we get 500 subscribers. We'll all do a dance reel with a tennis racket and ball.
Make sure you subscribe.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and as for our website, at the time of recording, which is what's today, the Sunday, 25th of February, 2024, if you go to tennishackery.com, you will see a nice little piggy. It's a site called porkbun.com, which is our domain hosting provider, which really means that we've been lazy in not putting up a site, but we will. What I hear some murmurings they are saying, and I know I've been lazy because I'm the IT guy. So, anyways, without further ado, let me. I think I've been blabbering a lot. Let me seat the stage. The stage being, a foldable table inside our garage, to our uh, our resident pro of tennis hackery, Alex Porta. Alex, take it away.
Hey, so yeah, my name is Alex Porta. I'm from Holland. I started playing tennis when I was about 8 or 9 years old. And so yeah, I grew up in Holland. I played tennis when I started at 9, but I also played field hockey. And I was always a very energetic kid, and I played a lot of sports and did a lot of things. And then when I was about 12, I had to decide between hockey and tennis, because it started getting really busy and serious with the competition and stuff. And so I chose tennis, and I chose tennis because it was an individual sport, and I felt like I could really own it more. But I really did appreciate from field hockey the team atmosphere and aspect, and I do think it helped my tennis, the endurance part, the leg strength.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I always advise actually kids to play multiple sports when they're younger and not just specialize at a really early age. Um, but yeah, so after that, when I started playing tennis only, I started playing nationally and traveling around in Holland a lot. And then I started playing internationally, the ITF junior circuit when I was maybe 14, 15. And and then when I was 15, I had some family in Spain, and I was invited by a coach in Spain to go check out this academy in Mallorca, the island of Spain. And they offered me like a scholarship, and I decided to go live there and train full time and really go all in. I was there for 8 months in Mallorca. Had my own coach, traveled with my own coach. There were only a few players there that were full time. I think the Spanish training and culture really helped my tennis and really instilled a lot in me. Mostly discipline, hard work, footwork, training so much on clay as well.
Yeah.
Um, and like what else? I think the fitness, really, like the fitness aspect. And so then afterwards, I went back to Holland after 8 months or so, started playing a lot of tournaments, and then I got injured actually. And then I was lucky enough to connect with Alistair McCaw, that became a big mentor of mine, and he's a
Great
very
name, yeah.
very good fitness coach and also a mindset coach. And so I worked under him, was mentored under him for 2 years, and yeah, it was mainly like just professionalism and discipline again, and really helping my body become like just more fully equipped, really. Um, then I had to choose if I wanted to go pro or go play college tennis, which was a very hard decision. And I didn't know if I was good enough, and it felt like a lot of pressure. And I started playing pro tournaments already in Spain, actually, but then afterwards as well. And I found that like I wasn't sure if I felt ready for that. And so I decided to go play college tennis. So I came here to the US and I played at St. Mary's College, which is here in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
Is it D1?
D1.
Yeah.
D1. Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
And it was a great experience. Like I was really happy with my decision. Liked my coaches a lot, liked my team. And that's not always the case. So I definitely
Mhm.
feel good about that. Then after college, I was thinking a little bit about playing pro again, giving it another chance, which was like 2 or 3 months that I tried. But played some good matches, had a few good wins in there too. And then I felt very cold to go coach, actually. And I was already coaching a little bit during college, but it was more like hitting lessons, but I did really enjoy it. And so yeah, I started coaching and I started coaching at Dominican University, which is a Division 2 school in Marin. Um, a girls team and enjoyed that and became a head coach there 1 or 2 years later, and that was definitely a big learning curve. Um, then after that, coach at St. Mary's. Um, then I was asked to coach Daniel Lau, who was a pro player. She used to play at USC, and so that was like a big learning curve, and I was very excited. And yeah, we started traveling, and that was great. She lived in SoCal. So then eventually that didn't work anymore, and then I started coaching Michaela Gordon, who is from, who's local, and she ended up going to Stanford. And I worked with her full time for a few years. We had a longer full time relationship, and then I worked with Daniel Collins, which is definitely the best player I've ever worked with for
Crowds.
5 weeks. But it was a great experience for me to work with someone with that caliber, and I could already tell from the start that she was going to be really, really good. And then that was actually set up through the UCA because they knew me through Michaela Gordon. And then I was asked to coach for the UCA. Yeah, UCA with the transitional pros, and I did that for 2 years. So it was really like 5 years of like a lot of traveling and
Mm.
pretty intense. And
Imagine, yeah.
yeah, it was really intense, and I started actually getting burned out. Even though it was great experience too, but I definitely got burned out. And so after 2 years, I quit, and I really started focusing more and thinking more about like mental health and just my journey of well-being and finding more just joy. Um, so yeah, I stayed home and I actually took a job at Santa Cruz with the men's team. And like one of my closest friends was the head coach. So I became the assistant for the men's team at Santa Cruz, and it was just a really fun job.
What's his name?
Jimmy Soper.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My
Yeah.
one of my teammates from the 50, David Frederick. I think he trained under him too.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
at Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's funny. So yeah, I did that for a few years, and I still was coaching independently. But as I said, I was more focused on like well-being, and I started getting really into meditation and the mindset for tennis players, but people in general, and that has been really my passion since then. And so that comes to tennis hackery, and that like one of the big reasons for tennis hackery is it's very focused on like wholesome coaching and creating wholesome players. And so that you're looking there at the mental side, you're looking there at the fitness part of it, but also just the way you coach and the way you can help players get better. And I found that like when I looked at my players, like I wasn't there for their tournaments, and most coaches are not able to be there
Yeah.
for their players at tournaments. So there's a huge gap there. And these players, like they come to you and they tell you what their parent thinks they did wrong or what they think they did
Yeah.
wrong. But a lot of times there's a huge
Yeah.
disconnect. And so a huge thing that I think it can be way more effective, we think it can be way more effective is like data analysis, watching your own matches, having it be filmed, Um,
Yeah.
Watching your own matches, like honestly, is key. Like I haven't watched my own matches much at all in my career, and I really wish I did.
Mhm.
And then if you have someone that can also like really film, like and show you exactly like, look, with your forehand, you're getting too tight. Look, your elbow here, and then compare to the this player that does it correct, and you can really see it for yourself, and then you can see how you can practice it with a certain drill. It helps so much.
Yep.
So that's really like my journey, and like with Tennishackery, I'm so stoked to work with these two guys that are very passionate about tennis, but that bring their own side that I don't contribute at all. So super excited and grateful to have collaborated and come together here.
Hey, the pleasure is ours,
Yeah, of
seriously,
course.
to be
Yeah, yeah,
associated with you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And Soham will say something about himself.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah. First of all, it's very hard to match up to Alex and go right after
Seriously.
her. So I feel a little intimidated, honestly. But actually, it's also the first time I'm meeting Alex in person. I've known Tarun since 2016. Um, I'm super excited to be part of Tennis Hackery because I think we've, found two very passionate people about the game, about coaching, about player development, about mental wellness, about physical fitness, and pretty much the whole thing, right? So for me, my name is Sahil Mukherjee. I moved to the US about 21 years ago, and currently I'm in tech, but I'm also part of a startup company that, I'm not exactly co-founding, but one of the first three, four members of the startup. I also have a job, but I also coach kids and I'm also an angel investor. So I'm doing a lot of different things,
Lot
but
of things.
lots of things. But tennis hackery is something probably is like as close to something that I like super passionate about. So I think we have a lot of things we'll be doing using for from with the tennis hackery. Now, in terms of my tennis journey, I'm born and brought up in India. I spent the first 10 years of my life in India, and pretty much in that time frame, to me, I used to go to these fun, tennis summer camps where it was very rudimentary. There was no like teaching fundamentals or anything. It's really just for fun. I went with my cousins who lived 5 minutes away from me, and it was just to keep us engaged, kind of be active. I did other sports as a kid. I was always into sports pretty much growing up. Then I moved to Singapore because my dad's business was there in when I was 10 years old. So I spent the next 8 years of my life in Singapore. And in that time, I my parents actually put me in a tennis sort of academy. But over there, basically what we did was a lot of drills
Hmm.
and a lot of fitness work. Those grueling hours that I spent, especially in a fitness, running around the tracks after
And in
class
the Singapore heat and
in
humidity
the
too.
heat and the
Yeah.
humidity was something that you learn to toil
Yeah.
under those kind of weather conditions.
Yeah.
So I do enjoy those kind of weather conditions when I play matches because I feel like I have some
Yeah.
competitive
Yeah.
advantage. So we did that. I played a couple of tournaments until I was 16. I'm The caveat here is I don't think I actually learned fundamentals even now, right? Which was a little bit of a problem because I usually did not go very far, very deep into these tournaments, but it was good exposure for me. And I think that's really when my passion for tennis was triggered. I think just it's just a fascinating sport, right?
Yeah.
I also I went to the Singapore Open, which was like one of the first times I saw pros play live. I saw Michael Chang there, who was a big crowd favorite.
Yep.
I saw Marcelo Rios
Mm,
and a bunch of those other people. I think Guga did not show up that time,
Hmm.
but I used to really enjoy him.
yeah.
By the way, I should say that growing up, Andre Agassi was my favorite player, and I used to follow him. I had posters of him all over, and I just generally liked that energy that he brought on court and his personality. So, cut to 2003, I moved to the US. I went to Berkeley for engineering. Uh, but I wasn't, I guess, despite having a very difficult course load and academic workload, all of that. I still found some friends of mine who played tennis, and during our free times, which was
Yeah.
very limited actually, we used to go to the tennis court to play just to keep that interest alive. And then in my junior and actually in my senior year, I found a friend of mine who's actually on my team right now. Him and I, we actually ended up hitting a lot together, and we participated in a tournament. I think we he won the singles. I think I came fourth, and we were the third place team in doubles. So I think that's when I started getting back to it, because there were years
Yeah.
where I was pre-college and during college. I know I didn't get a chance because of academics, right? So now I graduate out of college. I'm still in the Bay Area. Actually, I've never left the Bay Area.
Mhm.
And you start working, and then after work hours and on weekends, you're like, now what do we do, right? So in 2016, randomly, I was practicing in one of the facilities in the Bay Area, in the Bay Area, where I ran into one of the guys who happened to know like 50, 60 people in the tennis community. And he casually asked us, "Hey, do you wanna join a USTA league?"
Mhm.
And we're like, "Sure." I mean, it's a good way to meet people. It's a very social sport, and of course, we're passionate about tennis, right? So, what better way to kind of keep your competitive spirits alive? And in my very first match, I actually ended up playing Tarun, and that's where our friendship starts.
Yeah.
And we didn't stand a chance. I mean, I had no idea about doubles at that point because I've never played doubles.
To be honest, that was the dark days of 3.5. I was a 3.5, he was a 3.5, and he had no idea about doubles.
I didn't. So there was no strategy, there was no coordination. It was just like, okay, blast the ball, and I don't think any of the balls went in. So that's where my USTA journey started. It's still ongoing, and I'm very much active. For me, there's been a tremendous amount of growth thanks to a lot of people, my friends, a lot of general curiosity about the game. Where I was probably at a 3.5 level. I was self-rated 4.0 in my first year, and I successfully am now a 5.0 computer rated player. And it's taken a lot of hard work given that I actually never formally learned
Yeah.
tennis.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's thanks to a lot of players who've patiently been helping me too. And I'm also generally pretty hardworking, I would say. So I don't take hard work for granted. So that's one thing I also tell my students. So yeah, so I've been playing leagues, I've been playing tournaments, I've played opens. I've been captaining actually for a while now. I have a 5.0 team that I captain, 5.0 USTA NTRP, and it's generally been fun. I've met a lot of great people, and they're like family to me now, right? So in and then since COVID, I've actually been coaching a lot because one of the reasons I enjoy coaching is I genuinely feel, and this is one of kind of our vision too through Tennis Hackery, that I think there's a lot of youth in general who need a lot of guidance
Yep.
in tennis, whether it is training in terms of fitness, whether it is drills, repetition of drills, so you can mimic sort of match play, whether it is nutrition, whether it is general mental health and preparation, pre-match, post-match, and also strategy, which something that I deeply care about because I think a lot of tennis is problem solving,
Yep.
and that's kind of the uh, knowledge that I impart to my students about. It's not just about fundamentals.
Right.
Tennis is a very difficult sport. You have to be focused at all times. You have to have a short memory too. It's always about the next point, so you have to reset very quickly. And all of these require you to be kind of in the moment, focused. And mostly I feel it's about the mental side of the game. Mental uh, being solid and disciplined mentally is a very important aspect of tennis. And that's something that I enjoy myself and I've grown as well. And it's the aspect of problem solving is also something that intrigues me. And I always tell my students who range from 4 years old to 18 that you have to observe, you have to pay attention, you have to be disciplined, focused, and you have to kind of figure out and problem solve your way through matches.
Yeah.
That's the mantra for success, I feel.
Yeah.
For like sustained success. And I enjoy that part. I enjoy guiding students. I enjoy being a mentor. And I think to me, I think there are a lot of objectives that we will plan to achieve through Tennishackery, not just for the youth, but also for people who are adults, right?
Yeah.
Men, women, girls, boys of all ages. It's not just restricted to a certain age group. So in in our journey in Tennis Hackery, including not just this episode, which is more of introduction, but in upcoming episodes, we really plan to uh, introduce the sport, make it talk about wholesome tennis, but also invite a lot of guests, whether it's our friends who are players, whether it's coaches, whether it's physical fitness experts and specialists, or mental health and wellness experts, or nutrition experts. I think everybody plays a big role in transforming someone to become a wholesome tennis player, and we'll be in talking to them and just generally gathering a lot of information and sharing it with all our folks, because I think tennis is a wonderful sport. And as I recently saw on Instagram, if someone who plays active tennis, it can extend their lifespan
Yeah.
by 9.7 years, which I find is very fascinating.
Oh, these are published studies, scientifically done work.
That's right.
Yeah. So
That
it
is
is, yeah, it's not just anecdotal evidence.
It's not anecdotal evidence, and I genuinely think, because tennis uses all parts of your body,
Yes.
muscles, from mind to
yeah.
Yep.
toe,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Like it makes sense to me
Yeah.
that somebody who plays actively tennis, using all parts of their
Yeah.
body,
Just keeps you sharp.
keeps you sharp,
Yep.
keeps you focused, keeps you disciplined, and there's a lot of skill set that you can learn from tennis.
Yep.
Tennis.
Something with the brain too, right? With
Yeah.
ping pong and with tennis.
That's right.
I've heard,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's right. Um, yeah. So you know, we want to kind of do a fun segment next,
Yep.
where we want to do a rapid fire, so to speak, and we'll try to pick the brains of our fellow co-founders of Tennis Hackery on what hacking tennis has meant to them in their life, or kind of share a story or experience where they've actually hacked something
Yes.
successfully. So Tarun, why don't you
Yeah.
start?
So yeah. So just to elaborate on what Soham said. So if you go look up at the dictionary, there are different meanings of the word hack, including there are some very bad connotations in tennis, when you hack at the ball without any technique. But what we are talking about is how you problem solve your way, whether it's a short term, you're on the fly thinking, or something that you plan long term. So this is a question that we would be asking, ourselves, and also our future guests, should they come. So starting with
They
myself.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. Come on,
Yeah.
we are pretty awesome people,
But
right?
Yeah.
They can't say no
Yeah.
to us.
Yep. 500 subscribers, guys. TikTok video.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. All right. So starting with myself, uh, this was a specific a 4-5 match. I was a 4-0, and I think Soham was my captain who put me up in that match against a very good 4-5. And looking at that guy in practice, I was just intimidated by his forehand. I'm saying, yeah, this is going to be a quick double bagel. Just go have some quick lunch and get back home. But as I found out, the guy had a big forehand, and he had an extreme Western grip. So maybe I might be getting into too much into the technical and tactical side of it. But I actually won that match, and the way I did it was I just hit sliding wide serves, low skiddy serves, slice serves to his forehand on the deuce court, and he was missing every other return, or it was just mistiming. So once I figured that out, I just kept pounding that. I just got a lot of free points. It completely messed him up, and it was a shock win. Like, I had, like, the next full week I had a lot of people messaging me, dude, you beat this guy, dude, you beat this guy. And that was one of my happiest memories on court. And I was like, it was an example of how to observe, and how to observe a weakness, and how to uh, pound on it, basically. So I mean, I basically I hacked that match. So
Was it forehand or backhand?
forehand,
Forehand.
forehand,
Okay.
yes. So an extreme Western grip. So it was like a big swing path,
Right.
and a huge circular swing. So you just rush them and just keep the ball low. So
Mhm.
they struggle with that angle.
Good job. Yeah.
Yep.
Any
Nice.
other wins like this?
Not really. That was one of the my most
I
memorable.
think I think I think once we have Tennishackery set up
Yep.
and do all those analytics
Yes.
and talk about various aspects of the game, I'm sure you'll have more stories with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we all have a lot of stories. I'm sure we all have a lot of stories.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
for those of you who are listening or watching us or will watch us once this goes live, please do share your thoughts, your anecdotes, your hacks.
Please
All right.
comment.
Yeah, please do comment.
Mm.
All right, moving on to Alex.
My hack. So I played last year for the first time in a long time. I started playing for a league actually, and so I didn't compete for probably 6, 7 years prior to that. So my confidence was pretty low. And my first match actually, and we had good opponents. I was playing mix, and my first match was against strong opponents, and I was playing really good actually the first 2 sets, and then it became a tiebreaker, super tiebreaker, and I got super tight. And in the past, I used to get really tight on my serve, and that came back. So it was kind of like this like feeling of what I used to have when I was really tight. And so yeah, I started double faulting, and it was like quite a disaster. And we lost that match, and I was just like, gosh, like that still happens. And I was beating myself up about it. And luckily, we were still in the tournament. It was sectionals, and so I had to compete again the next day. So and I had to figure out a way to get up and be positive, and so yeah, I went back, and I in my life I was already meditating a lot and into that journey. And so I was like, well, let's meditate and visualize how I can tomorrow feel different about my serve than what happened today. And so that night I was meditating and really thinking about if I'm in the same exact situation and a bunch of people are coming to watch and I'm feeling tight, like how can I feel good? Like how does it feel to actually feel good serving when everyone is watching, when it's a tiebreaker? And I started practicing that feeling. And so the next day, like it really was a shift, and it was really cool for me to see because I didn't practice it with tennis that yet. I just practiced this in life with meditation, and I learned about it from books and workshops and stuff like that. And so that kind of started me on the hacking journey when it comes to visualization for tennis. And it happened actually again during nationals. We actually made it to nationals, which is really cool. And then during nationals, it happened again. I got really tight one match, and the same exact thing happened actually. And so I meditated again, and so yeah, it was like 2 tournaments of the same thing happening and hacking myself through it. So, yeah,
We can only dream of going to nationals, right,
Yes,
Turu?
yes.
you're on your way.
Yeah, we'll give it
Well,
our best.
What about you?
For me, um, the biggest the the biggest transformation in my thinking, it's a little bit philosophical, but one of my friends who's also on my team, he, by the way, is follows the great base tennis fundamentals. So please do read that book or follow them on Instagram because they have some really good things to say about fundamentals. But yeah, so he's a full-time coach, and I was practicing, and doing a lot of drills with him because I wanted to improve. And there was nothing to do during COVID besides, like, it's one of those more acceptable social distancing sports
right.
besides golf. So
Golf,
uh,
give me a break.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, right.
Is
Uh,
that even a sport?
it, it's not that bad, but yeah, nothing beats
Yeah,
tennis. Tennis is
of
number
course.
one. So I was just generally talking to him after our practice, and he asked me a few questions. I told him I want to improve this, because there are no leagues or tournaments happening that time. And while talking, one of the feedback that he kind of gave me based on, and he's very observant, right? So you may not think he's observing, but he's actually observing. So one of the things he told me is, think you should um change your reset your expectation.
Hmm.
Now, what do we mean by expectation here, right? Like, I thought I was better than I actually was, and it was hurting me because I was also getting a little bit frustrated
Yeah.
when I was making mistakes. And once you are in a mental hole, you dig yourself in this mental hole, it's only goes downhill, right? And I was doing a lot of self destruction and probably losing matches I should not have been losing, right? So once I re-baselined or reset my expectation to something which was more realistic, that was a key transformation. Because then what happened was it was more realistic. And when I ended up playing matches the year after, and then in 21 and 2022, I was a lot more secure and a lot more confident in my matches because I knew what my true level was, and I was not trying to reach to somewhere or think I was somewhere else higher than that line.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
That's and because of that, there were a lot of times I lost the first set in a match and I was able to stay at it mentally and come back and win.
Mm.
Just because of that shift. To me, that was the biggest change in that has been the biggest change in my game, just from a mental aspect. Because physically, I'm pretty fit. So physical, I've never been out like somebody
Physically.
has not been able to beat me physically. It was always mental. And what happens is when you're not mentally there, you start making decisions
Yes.
on the court which are not optimal.
Yep.
So once I was more tuned in mentally, I think my decision making got better. I was mentally stronger, and my results started changing for the better. So that advice has been very significant for me. And
Yeah.
to me, I would say that I have been able to hack through that. I was stuck at a
Right.
level
The expectation. Yeah.
because of expectation, and now I'm a lot more secure. I'm also a lot happier on the court when I
Yeah.
play.
That's the key. Yeah.
That's the key, right?
Absolutely.
And uh, I'm ready to battle,
Hmm.
and I never get scared if I'm down or something. I
Yeah.
feel like I'll always have a chance to come back. So that's basically
Awesome.
my hack.
That's amazing. All right, guys. Speaking of expectations, our expectation is to get 500 subscribers fast so that we can do the TikTok dance and get on TikTok. I will keep hammering on this again and again and again. And that's it, guys. This was our first episode. So again, please follow us on our socials. The term what you want to search for is Tennis Hackery on Facebook, Instagram, X. We have a YouTube channel, and of course, we will upload these episodes on all the podcasting platforms. See you.
See you
Bye.
guys.
See you.
Bye.
Take care.